So today we are having our Guest of Honor seminar series. It's a monthly event bringing together distinguished Kazakhstani scholars from around the world to share their academical journey, challenges, career-defining moments. And I think it's a very amazing opportunity to ask your question. And with this month, we're honored to welcome a special guest from Italy, Associate Professor Dr. Aizhan Tursunbayeva. She's working in the Department of Business and Economics in University of Naples. And I think so. I will stop sharing here, and we'll continue to introduce our speaker. So the question is, do you know how artificial intelligence actually decide to get hired, promoted, or even switch employee that might quit next? Or how company data actually used to predict human behavior at work? And this kind of question actually drives the research of Professor Tursunbayeva. So her work explores how AI and data analysis are transforming human research management. So I already sent this information before, and I think you already know Professor Tursunbayeva's profile. And Professor Tursunbayeva, the floor is yours. So if you have slides, you can share.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, really, Galmjan, for this, for all the amazing work you are doing, all the projects you presented, and for this invitation, for introduction, for such a warm welcome. It's really, really an honor to, I think the reason why it's called Guest of Honor, because it's really an honor to be part of this event and to speak to fellow colleagues and a little bit. So I was asked to present a little bit about my background, after about my research areas, and after about my book. So very ambitious, but I will try to be as fast as possible and consider that it's a lot of years I'm doing this project, so maybe I will be like touching upon some topics. If you want to continue conversation, if you have any questions, just get in touch on LinkedIn, write me via email, so we can continue this discussion. So this is almost view from my university. So I work in Naples, and this is Vesuvio. So this is Vesuvi. So we are very fortunate. So our offices actually look onto the sea. So they're located in the center of Naples. So if someone in the future would like to come, it's really amazing location and very beautiful place. So, okay, so about my journey. So all my journey was at the intersection of HRM, technology, and ethics. And I'm the graduate of Kazakh National Technical University. So I studied engineering and after I'm actually a former Bolashak. So I did my master's in engineering at McMaster University. So this is where the technology part comes from. So you would say, so how come you do HRM? Because after I finished my studies, I went to work for HSBC Bank in Kazakhstan. So I was a senior HR manager working for HSBC Bank. So I never formally before studied HRM, but I always had this passion to helping people finding jobs, seeing competencies and helping them grow. So this is where this HRM part came from. I always knew that I will do PhD at some point of time. I grew up at Narhos University for family reasons. So I always knew that at some point I will do PhD. So I applied for Italian university and I did my PhD there. And in my PhD, in my proposal, I actually proposed to do HR technology. So you can see this link. And, actually I did it in the healthcare industry because, national health workforce, it's a very important topic. It was little studied. So this is how I started. This is how I came to PhD. And why ethics? So because I did my PhD in HR technologies in healthcare. So I did PhD in co-tutorship with the University of Edinburgh, and I was attached to the medical school. And ethics is a very big topic in medicine. And unfortunately, back then, no one was discussing ethics in relation to HR technologies. But when I went and raised this issue right away, they saw a lot of ethical concerns because of how strong medicine is, biomedics, and all these fields, how strong they are in ethics. So this is how I came to ethics. So after my PhD, I went to KPMG in Italy. So I worked in strategic consulting, but I always liked all my free time I was dedicating to teaching for free and continuing doing research. So during COVID, there is this big quit, right? During COVID. So I was one of the examples of big quit. So I thought, okay, we all slowed down. So I thought, okay, I want to go to academia, academia in Italy is very competitive. It's very difficult to enter. So I applied to the Netherlands and I won a position there. So I started working with them remotely. And actually, before transferring to Twente, I won a position in Italy. So it was all. Occasionally, like, oh, maybe it was a destiny. So now I work at the University of Parthenope. It's a middle-sized university, so we have approximately 10, 15,000 of students. It's actually famous in Italy because it's one of the naval or sea universities. It was established, but now they have a lot of expeditions, like recently now our scientists are in the are exploring the ice and all they're doing a lot of research with the oceans, but we have very strong also engineering, economics, and it's we have a collaboration with MIT. We have a lot of we're UNESCO chairs for a couple of directions. And what is interesting, in Italy now there is a trend that university, they have kind of stable recruitment, but our universities were continuing to grow in terms of number of students. So we show different trend. So it's very positive for us, of course, and we are also quite good in ranking. So this is public university. And of course, I told you location and all the other benefits that come with the university. So it's also present. So in terms of my research, as I told you, I started from human resource information systems in healthcare. So I studied two national projects in two European countries. And, during my study, what I discovered that the main benefits is actually the data that these systems have. So this where I shifted my research to people analytics, so HR analytics, human capital analytics. There are so we're one of the first people who started studying this topic. And we studied this topic only not generally, but also in Italy. And what we discovered, all the research is kind of very connected to each other, because we discovered that ethics is not discussed in terms of people analytics. And as Galamjan was saying, how people are recruited, what could be the outcomes. It's very important outcomes because, if you in marketing or in any other discipline, supply chain, if you you can choose to accept cookies or not to accept cookies, but when you are at work, not many people can select what they can do or what they can't do, because many technologies are applied centrally, so everyone kind of starts using them. And when you're a candidate, many people don't even know that maybe there is some technology behind that is assessing them. They're expecting that it will be people, that these are people who will be accepting them. So this paper, we started working in 2018. You see the date of publication 2022. It took us 2 years to write, more than 2 years to publish. It was one of those challenging experience to publish a paper. So we were very surprised when my screen is not, wait, there is something. Let me, sorry. Okay, so we were quite surprised when we actually received an award for this paper. So it was one of those challenging experiences that became a huge success. Scientific papers are read by very few people, right? So it's very motivating. Like this paper is downloaded almost 50,000 times. So for scientific paper, like I think you will understand what I mean. It's not very common that the paper is so widely used. So we are very happy about it. So the logical step after, with the arrival of artificial intelligence, became the studying like the artificial intelligence. And of course, because I'm very familiar with the healthcare sector, we started from studying its impact on the healthcare industry and the implications for job design of healthcare professionals. So what is changing? Will the work be more difficult? Do they need new competencies? These kind of questions we study as HR professional, organizational design scholars. Another study that I did is when people adopt artificial intelligence, kind of what is the checklist to follow to consider when implementing it to do it successfully. So that was another study. And lately, we started studying the future of work of academics. And when we speak about future of work, you need to think it's like where, when, and what of the work. So where the work will be conducted, when people will do it at night, during day, like now on Sunday or on Monday, and what will change. And this is very important because, with the arrival of ChatGPT, like how much our work is changing, analysis, recruitment, or like how people write thesis, right? So now we see a lot of these people do reviews with many people do, like even that they don't actually disclose it. So even though a lot of academics study artificial intelligence, but we wanted to study academics who use artificial intelligence. So this is a conceptual paper. And one of the last studies, we also did an experiment. I saw that there was someone from Barcelona. So this is actually could be interesting because these two professors, they are from Barcelona Tech, Universitat Politecnica di Catalunya. So we did experiment between Italy and Spain, and we were interested how candidates react to if they know that the artificial intelligence and different types of data, for example, professional and personal data, will be used in recruitment. So when we say professional data is LinkedIn, right? We are very proud to put all our achievements. But maybe, so we are proud if recruiters will have a look at it, but not so much if we put something, maybe the pictures from last party on the Facebook, and maybe recruiters will see it. So, and we checked this in the experiment. We checked the difference between business candidates and engineering candidates. So surprisingly, engineering candidates who are claimed to be very technocratic, and pro technology, we discovered that they were more cautious than business students. So something maybe you could find interesting. So because I have a lot of projects on AI and HRM, so all of these I decided, I mentioned it's very difficult to publish, right? It's a very long process. So when we publish books, we can be more free and flexible, and it's relatively shorter, maybe the journey. So because I had a feeling like I want to tell so much, so I thought, okay, let's try to put everything in the book. And the book I will briefly describe you is focused on two perspectives. So the future of work that I mentioned you. So it's how the jobs will change, and human resource management. So when we speak about future of work, and in terms of the role of artificial intelligence in it, we see that no one is neutral. Everyone is either very excited about the arrival of artificial intelligence to the companies, and we can see here some expressions of some very important and famous people about it, or others are very scared. And when you see people who are very scared, so you get scared even more because these are people at the forefront of the development and distribution, let's say, of artificial intelligence. And when we speak about the implications of future of work, I think every day when you open news, you read something. KPMG estimated that this percentage of jobs will be lost due to arrival of AI to the company, or in any country, by any industry. You will see a lot. So these studies are conducted mostly by labor economists. So they count the number of jobs. What we do, HRM professionals, we study qualitative effects. And these qualitative effects could be that technologies can assist us. They can replace potentially people. They can augment, so for example, physical or cognitive capacities, and they create new tasks and jobs. So what people do like to do in Italy, right? They like to take espresso. So let me explain you everything, all this with the example of espresso. So it's easy, these theoretical categories, but we bring them to very basic level. Okay, so before the coffee production process was very manual, like the production, the beans, right? The refinement of beans, the preparation. So even at home we use the mocha. It's a special. We do everything manually. But if you go, so think that we are speaking about some cafe, like they call them bar in Italy, and people who serve coffee, they call them barista. So let's discuss this job implication for barista. So before this person, he, she, they used to do everything manually. Now you see there, so there, it's automation, right? So it's double production of double output with the same. With the same input. So it's called assistant. So here we see that their work is facilitated. So this is this impact of assistance. Another impact you can see, what is this? It's a vending machine, right? And it's not always negative. We have one campus in the periphery of Naples. It's a new campus, so there is no bar where students can take coffee. So they put the vending machine. So it's not always negative. Sometimes the infrastructure is not there. So the vending machine could be fantastic of help. So this is called a replacement, and this is what we are all scared about as professionals, that technologies will take the human jobs. Another impact is augmentation. And while I was writing the book, preparing this and other lectures on this topic, how much is there uh, in terms of coffee preparation that we never thought we will need as humans. So, for example, you can order coffee while you're coming back home from the bed, whatever the temperature. So, it's something that we never imagined, and something that it's not assistant, it's something more. Something, for example, an analysis of big quantity of data. So when you maybe this machine, based on if you have it for 1 year or 2 years, maybe it will analyze the data. And sometimes when you don't even know that you want a coffee, it will just prepare you a coffee because it know that the machine will know you. And another thing, so new tasks and jobs. So it's not all negative, right? The arrival of artificial intelligence. When I do have these discussions with at schools, at university, we do orientation. So when we go to schools and they ask, what new professions do you know? You know how many influencers I find in each class. So this is an example of new professions that arrived. Okay, this is a case of social media, right? But the same with artificial intelligence, chief data officer, chief privacy officer, whatever job that no one could imagine that data data scientists that were not here only a couple of years ago because artificial intelligence maybe was not so diffused. So, and we have also new tasks. So, for example, now when people write thesis, we must run it through the plagiarism check, right? So it's a new for us as a professors. Or, for example, now because the essay writing could be people could cheat, we are considering should we do exams pen and paper again? Should we do only oral exams? So we have these new tasks. So all of these are kind of implications. So you see, so it will be only partial view to consider only one implication. So you have to consider that the implication could be not in terms of numbers, but also qualitative, and they can be very, you see, very, very different. And when people speak about like the reports, white papers speak about replacement, they usually speak also try to balance these perspectives with new tasks and jobs. So this is a future of work implications, and usually they discuss it in future of work literature. But HRM is something very relevant, and here I tried to bring into speaking about different HRM processes. So, what's HR management? It's finding people, bringing them to organizations, ensuring that they're enjoying their time and they're contributing to their maximum. And so, it's kind of throughout the employee journey. And all HR processes from theoretical point of view could be organized in three kind of macro categories: operational, so something that is repeated every day, like for example payroll, um, uh, payroll calculation; relational, when there is interaction between people; or transformational, like for example change management, something that can change. So HRM, the output of HRM activities are usually evaluated in terms of these three categories. The same with the impact of HR technologies. So I tried to bring these two perspectives in my book. And what I discuss, so I don't discuss only automation. I discuss that we are moving from traditional automation, like for example, payroll automation, but we are moving somewhere beyond. For example, many of you are familiar maybe with some Uber company. So now, and this comes from scientific articles or from the websites. I took this information. Like now, anyone with a driving license can become a driver, so they can no interview is required. So traditional recruitment process, there is a CV sent, there is an interview, there is a background check, there is onboarding process. All of these steps are skipped in this new type of recruitment. So we move from, and so this process are called now not recruitment, but for example, algorithmic recruitment. So something that is done by the algorithm. The same for training. And okay, and here we can see from one side, you see the future of work effect. So this could be assistance, but this is also replacement of HRM professionals. But and the more what is more scary that many of these methods are coming to traditional organizations. So you see this video, it's a traditional recruitment process in many companies that there is you see like algorithmic an algorithm which is asking this candidate questions after registering interview, and after evaluating everything is almost automatic. So there are many HRM kind of recruitments where candidates don't see HR person actually until they sign the contract. In terms of relational activities, I don't know if so this is a metaphor, right? You can see the curtains here. Another thing what AI technology promises to change these kind of relations maybe with recruiters. So very famous case is, I think it was Boston Opera. Back in 1980s, I believe, there was a very strong accusation of the theaters and operas that they didn't ensure, this ratio for diversity. So they mostly had men working, and men of particular characteristics. So not only like gender diversity, but cultural identity, like different types of diversity. So what they did, this opera house, they closed the curtains during auditions, and they were asking women to take out the shoes. So when, because you can see the heel, the sounds of the heel. So the focus became only on the competency. So when they started this type of recruitment, so they increased the hiring of women, of other people with other types of diversity rapidly. So this idea is now coming to recruitment with AI. They say like, because there is no human involved, so no one can see the characteristics of the candidate, the focus is only on the competency. So consider that now I'm presenting only the positive side, but we will come also to maybe some darker sides, right? So again, we see the assistance, the technology assists. Another thing, do you see I don't know if you hear the sound, but it's not important. You hear that people are talking. So it's kind of, it's a kind of Zoom or webinar that we are having now, but transformational impact that this kind of technologies, not only AI, but AI related, then they can permit new types of insights. And Galamjan is neuroscientist, so there are, many neuroscience tools like that are coming to the, like, I don't know if you can check in YouTube the Liverpool football team. They're already using these helmets, that they can take all the body parameters, the body temperature, the heart rate, maybe the flow of the blood, and they analyze them to increase the individual performance. But football players are also employees. So the question is, where is the barrier, right? Only because they earn more, is it the reason why they accept this? And another question would be, would we see the arrival of these technologies also to, again, standard organizations? So, and here we can see augmentation, maybe impact, something that was never even imagined before. So here, for example, it's kind of analyzes the sentiment, right, of these people. And here I'm coming, so these are all positive sides, but another question is it organizational enlightenment or an ethical minefield? Because, for example, one of the, I don't know if you've heard about Amazon case. So Amazon, they were growing rapidly and they wanted to create this recruitment CV scanning algorithm that could scan through thousands of CVs and maybe shortlist the candidates that could be interviewed. However, one of the Reuters journalists, what they found, that the algorithm was discriminating against women. So, for example, if it was, because they were looking for certain candidates for IT positions. But if you think about it, and the data based on which algorithm was trained was coming from Silicon Valley, maybe for the last 10 years prior to 2018. And who was working in that period in IT jobs in Silicon Valley? I think the profile could be very limited, you could imagine. So the Amazon could not maybe immediately adjust this algorithm, because just by collecting more data, they could not fix it, because collecting more data means that going back to maybe data even more potentially biased or that could be replicated. So they, at least the news stories that are publicly available, they say that Amazon put on hold a very huge investment that was made. So, one of the because the regulation is not available, so the laws, for example, European Union is one of the first, let's say, contexts which adopted this AI law, AI regulation, and previously General Data Protection Act. However, in many contexts where AI is, many contexts which are leading AI race, right? The regulations are not available. So because we don't have the hard law, there is now the emergence of soft law. So something that organizations like discover by themselves or produce by themselves to regulate their own activities. So we have, for example, IBM, we have Microsoft, and even Christian Church, they created their own this responsible AI regulation, which is grounded into Christian values, what these and many companies, we did some research, there are more than 300 regulations like these soft regulations. What they say that algorithms should not discriminate, they should be trusted, they should be accountable, they should be transparent, they should be led by human values. So this is what we mean when we say by responsible AI or ethical AI. And I don't know if we have any fans of Spider-Man here. So when we speak about artificial intelligence, it's very powerful technology, right? So I don't know if you remember the conversation between the Spider-Man and his uncle, who told him, like, with great power comes great responsibility. So the main idea behind this book and behind all my work that I'm doing is that with great data, with a great technology, with a great AI should come greater responsibility. So most of my recent projects, which are still not published, are focused actually on the responsible artificial intelligence in human resource management. So hopefully I will not take much time to publish them, so I can share them with you. So this is very briefly about my research, about myself. So I'm open for any questions